The festival begins today. Kunishige and her sons demonstrate their dancing skills in front of a large audience. They strengthen their bonds through the dance. Yamato says he was very nervous at first, but began to dance well as everyone applauded him. The festival has helped the family take a step forward. Kunishige says she's glad that everyone worked together for the festival. She says it gave her and her sons enough energy to carry on.
So this Awa Odori dance was the symbol of reconstruction of the nation after the war. And this year it is encouraging the people who were struck by the disaster. And we are joined by the representative Mr. Yamada, who attended Sendai's visit of the Awa dance troupe. What is going through your mind? We hope that the spirit, uplifting the spirit, is our aim. Through our dance, we want to send out the message to the people in Sendai and to the people who are affected by the disaster to encourage them. And this was done to console the souls of the dead. So this was also serving as a requiem at the time. And this Awa dance, we hope, will give them some sort of comfort. And we really wanted to present our gift to them in the form of this dance. With the earthquake, tsunami, and the disaster, there are many people who have been suffering, and the people here want to energize and encourage these people. And this festival will continue through this week. And you were also dancing in the studio. I wanted to dance with them, and the children were very brave in their dance, weren't they? And the dance will always lighten up and lift you up.
What you have just watched is a news story, a live news story by NHK, which is the country's, it's the country's channel. In the States it'd be like NBC, ABC, and CBS and Fox all rolled into one. It's the most important broadcasting company in the country. The story was about a group in Sendai, Sendai City, where the tsunami hit really hard, trying to show that life goes on and that people are moving on. There are lots of things I want to say to everybody watching. To the people who know me, my friends and family, they know how important this trip was to me. They know how important it was for me to come and see this and to make sure that the place I cared about a great deal was still intact. And what I've discovered is that they are still intact. And yes, their lives have changed. And yes, things are not the same as they were, but they're still going on, and they're still moving on, and they're still finding the good in life. They're still finding the bright parts of their future. There were so many things I wanted to show you this week that I just didn't have a chance to get to. One was a fireworks display in a place nearby called Shirakawa. They have a huge fireworks display every year. A huge festival. People come from miles around just to see this fireworks display and just to come to this festival, and I couldn't make it. There was a place called Ojijuku that I wanted to go to today, didn't get to. Surrounding little villages that have been doing so well even after all the problems that have happened. In Iwashiro, going to see the lake, going up Mount Bandai. There are just so many things I wanted to do to show you that they're okay here. Aizu is far enough away from whatever's happening on the coast that the only thing that has affected them is the fact that they're in the same prefecture where all this is happening. So they unfortunately are being lumped in to the disaster that happened on the coast. Now, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that there were some problems here in Aizu from the earthquake. Buildings damaged, houses unlivable, roads torn up, which if you've been watching my posts all week, you'd have seen that. They've also been affected by the fact that they've been the go-to place. People from the coast, people from the middle section of Fukushima Prefecture called Nakadori have evacuated and have fled and have come here to Aizu. I've seen with my own eyes, and you've seen on camera, at least one temporary housing development for people who are displaced because of the natural disasters. I've seen another one with my own eyes that was right next to an elementary school I used to work at. Something that I hope people understand is something that my kids, anybody who comes through my classes, whether it was at Memorial or at Westside, and those future kids that I will teach, I want them to understand one thing, is that I want them to use their own minds. I want them to make their own decisions. What's happening here in Japan, a lot of it is because of the fact that the Japanese people are used to being told what to do. And those are my Japanese friends and my wife. I hope will forgive me when I say this, but many Japanese people could be defined almost as sheep because they only do what they're told. One of the guys I spoke to yesterday said his biggest frustration with everything that's happened is that the Japanese people wait to be told what to do, so there's not a lot of volunteerism in Japan. You don't get a lot of people going and working just because it's the right thing to do. You don't have that. And he was very frustrated by that. But even with that factor involved, they're still living. And they're succeeding. And they're learning. And they're eating. And they're breathing. And they're just fine. If you don't believe them, believe me. Because I came back here just to prove to other people that this place, this Aizu, is fine. I came through that 50-mile zone that the United States government set. I came through it. I know people who are living in it. There are people on the JET program, ALTs, out there right now living in the zone who are just fine. In this place, in Aizu, there are people living here from America, from Great Britain, who are just fine. We don't know what the future holds. Nobody does. Anybody who says they know what the future is going to bring is a liar. And listening to them would be one of the biggest mistakes that you'll ever make. But I will tell you that what is here and who are here are all fine. The reason I'm so passionate about this, there's a number of reasons actually. One is the fact that I love this place. If you haven't gotten that by now, folks, I love Aizu. It is a great place to live. It is a great community. It's a beautiful place. The only reason I'm not there now is because I knew that in order to help my family, I needed to go back to school. And it's a lot cheaper to do that for me in the States than it is to try and do it here. It'd be easier for my family to do it that way. But you, anybody, should believe that if I had a chance and I knew that my family, that what I would have to do would take care of my family, I'd be back here in a heartbeat. Wouldn't even have to think about it. The gentleman you might have watched on video earlier, science teacher, former science teacher, now vice principal at an elementary school. His name is Joji Yokoyama. Good friend of mine. A very amazing person who has lived outside of Japan and came back and speaks very good English. He said at one point while we were together earlier that he's extremely worried for his sons because excuse me, even in Japan now it's gotten to the point where you search for work outside the prefecture. You're being turned down simply because you're from Fukushima, and there's that fear factor involved. He's worried for his sons, who someday will probably want to find a wife and settle down and create a family. He's worried that whatever women they might meet and try and court and make a family with are going to back off simply because they're from Fukushima. We in America understand the downfalls of discrimination. And discrimination at any factor, folks, is still discrimination. Yes, there's a problem in Fukushima. Yes, there's a nuclear reactor that melted down. Yes, they're cleaning up. Yes, it's going to take many years to get fixed. Yes, there's going to be problems from the people who lived in the area. Yes, there's going to be other problems unforeseen at this moment in time. However, yes, there are people who are still alive. Yes, there is food that is still clean to eat. I know because I've been eating it all week. Yes, there is still beauty and culture and a beautiful existence to be had here in this place. If you know of anybody who wants to come to Japan, is worried about coming to Fukushima, or Aizu for that matter, show them this. If you know of somebody who thinks that Japan is going to fall into the sea, show them this. If you know of somebody who believes that the world, the country that is Japan, is said and is over and done with, show them this. These people are still alive. They're still breathing. And in some cases, they're even showing us the strength that we should be showing for them. It's the end of my Aizu experience. But I hope it's not the end of my existence in Aizu. To those of you who've been watching on Facebook and on YouTube, thank you. Share. Please share with everybody. Anybody you know. I don't care if they've even heard of Japan or not. Share it. Show the beauty, the culture, the nature, the history. It's all right here. Good night.